All right. Well, my mission for my fall experience was to grow in my maturity as a Christian and to be able to use the Bible, but not just reading the Bible, but being able to understand it and its deeper meanings. Um, and my mission for my spring project was about exploring the technical and relational aspects of coaching from my coach's perspectives in order to determine whether it's a possible career for me in the future. Um, in the fall, I spent 48 hours alone with God in the mountains on a silent retreat. I was away from all electronics, people, distractions, really anything. Um, I used Jesus as an example, and he often withdrew to places to be alone to pray. And silent retreat is a good way to speak to God and to be with God. But more importantly, it's just a good time and a good opportunity to just to listen. I took the opportunity to read the Bible, pray, journal, and to take pictures of the beauty around me, which is one of the pictures I took. I didn't really have any specific topics in mind while I was there, but I just kind of wanted to go up there and listen for what he wanted me to do. Lessons I learned through this and the answers that God provided me were really anything that I could have expected. Um, he kind of basically told me to not rely on myself, but to trust him, to trust God, to lay down my problems at his feet, and to have patience because he does not always give us the answers when we want them. To continue to pour my heart out into him, but also to continue to pour out my heart and to love on others as well. The main lessons I came away with was having a relationship with God isn't just about knowledge of Scripture, but more about the ability to relate to him on a more of a heart-to-heart level. And if we keep God close to our hearts, then we can better hear from him and abide in his word. In my spring experience, I included two aspects. The first was to interview both coaches, Dawson and Carrie Lane, who I'll talk more about later, but in which I asked them questions regarding the relational and technical aspects of coaching. And my second part, which is what I'll talk about first, is an appreciation dinner and also a wisdom dinner with from my coaches that I've had from my past and present. We decided on a dinner at Eddie Merlot's, which is a pretty nice restaurant. And I invited 8 coaches. 5 of them could show up, but the other 3 gave me advice through letters or talking with me in person. The idea was to give each coach a personal thank you letter about what I appreciated my time with them, or what I appreciated most. And also to give the coaches an opportunity to provide wisdom and advice for me for my future and into the next stage of my life. The dinner was designed as sort of a rite of passage for me, a way to recognize the end of one stage and into the next. The dinner was a great experience, and I came away feeling very honored. I'm grateful to have lots of amazing coaches and mentors that speak into my life. I thought I would speak specifically about each of them before I move on and what I learned from them and advice that they gave me at the dinner. First, I had Dawson, who's Coach O, and he's the founder and CEO of Coaches of Excellence and the Coach O Consulting Group. He has worked with thousands of elite performers, and those have ranged from like the U.S. Navy SEALs to the Pittsburgh Pirates, Texas Rangers, and even into some Fortune 500 companies. And Coach O had coached many of my Little League teams because we've been family friends with him and his son, who's my age, for a long time now. He had taught me the only 2 things I can control is my attitude and effort in all things. He also taught me the value of acknowledging other people's accomplishments as well as my own, but mostly just with the other people. Some advice I received from him were to be a legacy builder, which some traits would be to love God and to love others, which is the first and second commandment. To be a pro in all things, which is an acronym for being passionate, relentless, and ownership, so owning up to things. And also to reject passivity and to be a fierce gentleman. Next, I had Justin Dillard. He played Division I baseball in college and has coached baseball in at a variety of levels. And in 2007, he had founded a company, or a local baseball ministry, not a company, called Complete Game Ministries. He is currently on staff with Athletes in Action as the national teams director. He had been my baseball coach for several years and I've gone to many of his baseball chapels. He had taught me to have focus and have intensity and giving 100% effort in every aspect of my life and not just in baseball. And I spent a lot of time with him outside of sports as well, whether that would be with youth trips or those chapels. And even going on a trip to California with the Valor High School team when I was in 7th grade, which was a pretty cool experience, would recommend. Some advice I would receive from him was that he had given me a Bible study about guarding my heart, which he had written, I guess, specifically for me and for my experiences in college that he hadn't given out to anyone yet. He had talked about how in college I would be exposed to many different experiences that could be black and white right now in terms of my own house and at school, but for when I get to college, those could get blurred because other people have different experiences and paths. And he told me, basically to close with that to keep God close to my heart, and then it would be easier to keep with it and keep on the right path. Next I had Justin Olson, who's the baseball coach here at Front Range Christian. He had been a pitcher at the University of Illinois and had made it into the minor leagues. He had given me pitching lessons and hitting lessons since I was young, and he had also coached me in my baseball teams. And he had shown me the value of remaining calm and in control and outside despite the circumstances. He is steady, dependable, and encouraging, and he has always wanted what was best for me, even if it's not what's best for him. He had told me that we may go to a variety of people for advice, but we should always go to God as well. He had talked about using my opportunities to give God the glory and to trust God in all that I do, whether it's sports or school or whatever I end up doing in my life. In addition, he had given me a devotional or a small Proverbs book, which is just a book of Proverbs. And one of those verses says, which is Proverbs 3:5-6, is to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Next I had Jim Warren, who I've known for a while now, but he is the owner of Center for Champions and is an internationally certified master trainer, which is, I guess, a big deal. He had started working with me when I was in 7th grade as well. He had taught me the correct way to lift without hurting myself. And he knew how to push me to my limits and how to maximize my own abilities. Some things that he had told me was the importance of keeping a balance with school, sports, and social life. That my identity can't completely be with athletics, but it is a part of who I am and not everything. And next I had Coach Del Hessel. Coach Del Hessel is a former Colorado State University head track field coach and U.S. Olympic Training Center coach. He is first coach in Division I history to coach 3 different track and field teams and take them all to the NCAA championships. He is nationally ranked in the 800 meter, and he is in the Colorado State Hall of Fame as both an athlete and as a coach. He believes in my potential and is always pushing me to do better than what I think is possible. He has an ability to see where I can go and find ways to get me there so I can reach my full potential. Some things I learned from him was that he wanted me to concentrate on the short term and achieving my immediate goals. versus focusing on things down the road. Next, I had Coach Kerry Lane. Kerry is the Director of Sports Performance and a Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist at Peak Energy Performance Therapy. Kerry has 17 years of high-level coaching, and she coached for University of Virginia as well as the University of Nebraska. She coached Adam Nelson to a world championship in the shot put and is an instructor for the U.S. Track and Field Cross Country Coaches Academy. She had helped me to loosen up and showed me that it's okay to laugh at myself and not to take life so quite so seriously. Kerry really understood the mechanics and movement, but also the psychological aspects involved around sports, which is something that I had struggled at from before. And she also really told me that sometimes I'll fail, but I will learn from my missteps. And other times I'll succeed and I'll shine through them. She said to stay true to myself and your faith, to stay humble, and to find a positive in every hardship, and to keep struggles and success in perspective. And then she had told me to have a gold medal attitude and a blue-collar work ethic. And the main things that I learned from that dinner was to seek God and keep Him close to my heart. I've had the privilege of working with a lot of great coaches over the years, and growing up as an athlete, I found that these coaches have a lot of qualities in common. They're encouraging, expect excellence, they push me, they're truthful, they're patient, inspiring, kind, guiding, and they tell me what I need to do and what I'm doing right as well as what I'm doing wrong. And they believe in me, which is really important when it comes to coaching. Then they know that I can learn from my failures, and most really importantly, they care about me as a person and not just me as an athlete. They're all great role models for me, and I feel like I have a great understanding of coaching from an athlete's perspective. But I decided to do research what else was involved with coaching besides what was directly involved as an athlete, which comes into the second part. I needed a coach's perspective, and I chose to interview Rod and Coach Kerry. And I knew that Rod had a biblical philosophy to coaching, and I wanted to learn more about his perspective. Whereas Kerry, she was a college throws coach, and I decided to leave that career to become a strength and conditioning coach. I feel like I learned a lot from both them and throughout the interviews. Their conversations showed me how much of what I was taught growing up were biblical perspectives or ideals all along. During my interview with Coach O, he had showed me that a coach's job is to get an individual or a team to a level that they can't get to themselves. He told me that is what God does, and He is the master coach. All the traits Jesus possesses are exactly what a great coach has, or what they have to do. Everything from patience to assertiveness, calmness to emotion and excitement. Coach O had talked to me about the importance of being a three-dimensional athlete, and the first level would be being highly competent and fundamentally sound, which would be the green layer, which is technical competency. Jesus knew that he knew the scriptures, and he was sound in his teachings. Second was the ability to motivate and understand the psychology behind it. Jesus knew how to motivate people individually and collectively. He told the rich young ruler to give up everything he owned to come and follow him, whereas he told Zacchaeus that he just wanted to spend more time with him. And Jesus was more patient with unbelievers than he was with his believers. He was more demanding of those who had already believed because he expected more of them. And lastly, you must be a master connector and relationship builder. And Jesus knew how to get to the hearts of those around him. With the young ruler, it was with money, but with Zacchaeus, it was with personal time and getting to know him. In terms of specific principles, Coach O teaches people to clarify the win every day. That you need to start with the end in mind and develop a process to get there. And Jesus does that with us. He knows the end and he knows how to get us there. How to get us there, get us where we are meant to be to follow him. He also said that we must be a simple person in a complex world. Jesus came and made the scriptures make sense. He came and fulfilled the prophecies, connected the dots, and that's what great coaches do. They make things make sense and they keep it simple. You must value people over productivity and programs. Jesus treated the people as the most important thing. Jesus said to love God and to love others, that you must be great speaking greatness into people. And Ephesians 4:29 says, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. I asked him if he had any difficulty including biblical principles, those who do not believe, but over the last 15 years he really hasn't had any struggles because people know the truth and the truth will set them free. And asked Coach if he had any advice for me, and since I was considering coaching as a career, he said to follow my passions and to not worry about the money. And Matthew 6:33 says, but seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. And I'm running out of time, but short and simple aspects of this interview with Coach Carrie Lane is that I asked her why people may leave the field, but it is because it's a high burnout, and it's hard to keep with it, and so it's hard to use your time, and it's hard to be able to call and recruit and long nights, and being able to relate with your athletes is hard enough because they're part of your family as well. It's not like your family and your team, it's all combined. I guess to conclude with my speech is that I plan to attend Colorado State University in the fall, and I'll be going into the track and field program there. And I plan to be getting a lot of valuable knowledge from Coach Bedard, who's the head coach and throws coach there. He is known as one of the best throws coaches and all-around coaches in the country. I plan to major in health and exercise science and possibility of minoring in coaching. This degree will hopefully give me valuable fundamental skills or foundational skills in the area of how the body moves and how body mechanics are involved with this. I think of my own experiences as an athlete, and coursework will be a good start, but if I decide to be a coach, I'll most likely need to volunteer and then try to get a graduate student assistantship to begin getting experience. I have been asked to be a counselor at Ironwood Throws Camp this summer, which is a throws camp for high schoolers across the country. And if time permits, I'd love to do so. It would be a great opportunity and a great start for me. And this project has reminded me of the importance of going beyond the technical skills and focusing on relational aspects. And it's not only about how to motivate and speak greatness into others, but also how to reach a person's heart. And some of the takeaways from the spring project is that you should follow your passion, keep it simple, be a three-dimensional athlete and a three-dimensional leader. And using Jesus as an example, I'm reminded that Jesus is the master coach. Most importantly are the lessons learned from both the fall and spring project, which were that I need to seek truth and to keep God close to my heart. And all these lessons can be applied to any career path as well as life.